Every day you wake up with a battle inside of you, not with the world, not with your family, not with your friends. The battle is with yourself. There are two versions of you. One is weak, one is strong, one wants comfort, one craves growth, one is filled with excuses, the other is filled with discipline. The greatest battle is never with the world, it is always within yourself. People often think their struggles come from the outside, from difficult circumstances, from other people holding them back, from society, from the lack of resources, or from the challenges life throws at them. But the truth is, no external obstacle is as powerful, as dangerous, or as persistent as the internal war you fight every single day. When you wake up in the morning, before you even step out into the world, you already carry with you the greatest opponent you will ever face, yourself. It is the voice that tells you to stay in bed a little longer, the whisper that convinces you to put off your dreams until tomorrow, the quiet doubt that says you're not ready yet, that you're not good enough, that maybe this is not for you. It's not the world that defeats you first, it's that inner resistance, the part of you that fears failure and prefers comfort over growth. When you look at people who succeed, it's not that life gave them easier circumstances or that they had no struggles. It's that they learned to conquer themselves. They mastered the art of silencing that inner voice of weakness and amplifying the voice of strength. They realized that the external challenges will always exist, but if you can win against yourself, if you can control your mind, your emotions, and your habits, then no external obstacle can truly stop you. The inner battle is about choosing discipline when laziness calls, about choosing courage when fear screams, about choosing action when hesitation tries to paralyze you. It is about refusing to let your weaker self make the decisions that shape your life. This battle shows up in the smallest moments. It's not always about grand decisions. It's in whether you pick up your phone first thing in the morning or you rise with intention. It's in whether you fuel your body with discipline or feed it with carelessness. It's in whether you push yourself to take the uncomfortable step forward or stay where it feels safe. Each of these tiny choices becomes a vote, either for the weaker you or for the stronger you. Day after day, these votes accumulate, shaping the person you become. If you allow your weaker self to keep winning, it will slowly erode your potential until you look back and realize you never became the person you were meant to be. But if you continue to choose the stronger self, even in small ways, that version of you will grow, it will gain power, and it will eventually dominate. The greatest battle being within yourself means that success and failure are not decided by the environment, not by luck, not even by other people, but by the choices you make when no one is watching. When you are alone, when the world is quiet, when the pressure of accountability is gone, that is when the war is fought most fiercely. Will you give in to the temptations of ease, or will you rise above them? Will you keep promises to yourself, or will you break them in silence? Every time you win against yourself, you strengthen your character, you strengthen your willpower, you strengthen the foundation upon which your life is built. And every time you lose to yourself, you weaken the very core of who you are, making it harder to rise the next time. This is why the inner battle matters more than any external fight. Because once you conquer yourself, the outside world cannot touch you. When your mind is disciplined, when your spirit is unshakable, when your actions align with your vision, nothing external has the power to break you. But until you win this inner war, the world will always seem heavier, harsher, and more impossible than it truly is. The battle is always you versus you, and the strongest version of yourself must always be the one that survives. There are two versions of you, the weak one that craves comfort, and the strong one that craves growth. These two selves live inside every person, and they are in constant conflict. The weak you is drawn to what feels easy, to what requires the least amount of effort, to what brings instant gratification without any long-term reward. It is the version of you that says, "I'll do it tomorrow." The one that convinces you to stay in bed when you should rise. The one that chooses pleasure over discipline, distraction over focus, and excuses over responsibility. This version of you is comfortable because it avoids pain, it avoids discomfort, and it avoids risk. But the price of this comfort is the slow death of your potential. Every time you give in to it, every time you let it take control, you are burying the stronger version of yourself a little deeper. On the other side is the strong you. The one that craves growth, the one that thrives in discipline, the one that chooses what is hard because it knows that hard is the path to transformation. This version of you is not seduced by comfort because it sees beyond the moment. It sees what could be. It sees the vision, the dream, the destiny waiting for you. It understands that growth only comes from struggle, that strength only comes from resistance, that transformation only comes from sacrifice. The strong you is the part of you that wants to run when your body is tired, that wants to study when your mind says rest, that wants to rise when everything inside of you wants to give up. This version of you is not afraid of pain. It welcomes it, because it knows pain is the price of greatness. These two versions cannot live in harmony because their desires are opposites. One pulls you back, the other pulls you forward. One holds on to the safety of what you know, the other pushes you into the unknown where you can evolve. Every single day, in every small decision, one of them is getting stronger and the other weaker. When you give your energy to comfort, you feed the weak you, and it grows louder, more convincing, more powerful. But when you choose growth, when you make the hard choice, when you step into discomfort willingly, you are feeding the strong you. And it begins to rise, it begins to take control. It begins to shape your life into what it was meant to be. The tragedy for most people is that they live their entire lives listening to the weak version of themselves. They let the voice of fear control their decisions. They let the craving for comfort dictate their actions. They let hesitation stop them from pursuing what they truly want. And because of this, they never experience what they were capable of. They never meet the stronger version of themselves, the version that could have built the dream, achieved the vision, lived the life they once imagined. They settle not because they weren't capable, but because they let the weaker self win the daily battles. But for those who recognize this war, who understand that both versions exist, there is power in that awareness. Because once you know that both voices are inside of you, you also know that you get to choose which one you follow. And that choice is everything. Every time you choose growth, every time you choose discipline, every time you choose to push when it would have been easier to quit, you kill a little part of the weak you. And the more you do it, the more you starve it, the weaker it becomes until it no longer has power over you. Meanwhile, the strong you grows more confident, more disciplined, more resilient, until it becomes the dominant force in your life. The weak you craves comfort, but comfort is a cage. The strong you craves growth, and growth is freedom. The life you want, the dreams you carry, the person you are meant to become. These things do not belong to the weaker version of you. They belong only to the stronger one, and the stronger one is waiting for you to choose it. Excuses, fear, and hesitation feed the weaker you. Discipline, action, and resilience feed the stronger you. Every time you listen to your excuses, you give more power to the side of you that wants to stay small. Excuses are the most convincing lies you tell yourself, and they sound reasonable, even harmless, but they slowly destroy your potential. I don't have the time. I'm not ready. I'll start when things are better. These excuses disguise themselves as truth, but they are nothing more than fear in a softer form. They keep you trapped in cycles where nothing changes, where days, months, even years pass without real progress. The weak you thrives on excuses because they protect it from challenge, and it feeds on your belief in them, growing stronger with every opportunity you let slip away. Fear is another source of fuel for the weaker you. Fear whispers that failure will define you, that people will laugh at you, that you are not capable of handling the unknown. And when you listen, when you obey that voice, you give the weaker self more control. Fear is natural, but when you allow it to dictate your choices, it becomes a prison. The weak you loves fear because it keeps you exactly where you are, stuck in comfort, unable to grow, unable to risk, unable to discover who you really are. Fear feeds hesitation, and hesitation is the ultimate weapon of the weaker self. Every time you hesitate, you create space for doubt to grow. You begin to question your worth, your ability, your future. And the more you hesitate, the more you freeze, until eventually the opportunity passes you by, and the weaker you wins yet another battle. But the strong you does not feed on excuses, fear, or hesitation. It starves when you give in to them, but it grows stronger when you choose discipline. Discipline is the lifeblood of the stronger self. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. It means showing up on the days when motivation is gone, pushing forward when no one is watching, and staying consistent when your mind is begging you to quit. Every act of discipline you practice is like fuel to the stronger you, making it more dominant, more powerful, more capable of leading your life. Action is another source of strength. While hesitation feeds weakness, action kills it. Action creates momentum, and momentum breaks the chains of fear. The stronger you understands that the longer you wait, the weaker you becomes more persuasive, so instead of overthinking, the stronger self acts. Even small actions matter. One step, one call, one choice to move forward when you could have stood still, that's how you feed the stronger self. Every action is a signal that you are not bowing to fear, not obeying excuses, not letting hesitation control you. With every action, no matter how small, you prove to yourself that the stronger you is in control. Resilience is what keeps the strong self alive through setbacks. Because no matter how disciplined or committed you are, life will test you. You will fail, you will fall. You will face moments when nothing goes the way you planned. In those moments, the weak you sees an opportunity to take over. It whispers that you should give up, that maybe you're not cut out for this, that it's safer to stop trying. But resilience is the shield of the stronger you. It is the decision to rise again, to keep moving forward despite the pain, despite the losses, despite the failures. Every time you choose resilience, you send a message to the weak self that no matter what happens, it cannot win. The war inside you is always about what you choose to feed. Excuses, fear, hesitation, they are the food of weakness. Discipline, action, resilience, they are the nourishment of strength. If you keep feeding the weaker self, it will consume your life until there is nothing left of the person you could have been. But if you feed the stronger self, if you keep giving it what it needs, it will grow until the weak you has no power, no voice, no control. And in that state, you become unstoppable. Every choice you make either strengthens the weak you or empowers the strong you. Life is nothing more than a collection of choices, small decisions that add up and form the direction of your future. Most people underestimate how powerful these daily choices are because they look so simple in the moment. Deciding to wake up on time or to stay in bed, choosing to exercise or to skip it, deciding to spend time learning or wasting hours scrolling aimlessly. These actions might seem insignificant by themselves, but together they determine who you become. Each choice is like casting a vote, and with every vote you are choosing which version of yourself is going to grow stronger. When you choose comfort over discipline, you are not just taking a break, you are feeding the weaker you. When you delay action, when you allow laziness to win, when you let procrastination control your day, you are building the habit of weakness. That weaker self thrives in those small moments, where you let your guard down and tell yourself it doesn't matter, but it always matters. Every compromise you make in the moment may seem harmless, but it strengthens the version of you that wants to stay average, that wants to avoid challenge, that wants to take the easy way out. And the more you choose in favor of weakness, the more control that version of you gains over your life until it becomes your default. On the other hand, every time you choose growth, you empower the stronger you. Waking up early when your body wants to sleep, staying focused when distractions surround you, choosing to act when hesitation creeps in, these moments are where the stronger self grows. Every disciplined choice adds to its strength, every action taken builds momentum, and every sacrifice for the sake of progress sharpens its voice inside of you. And as you repeat these choices day after day, the stronger version of you begins to dominate, making it easier to keep choosing discipline, easier to keep pushing forward, easier to silence the weaker self. The truth is that no single choice defines you, but the repetition of choices does. If you consistently give in to excuses, you slowly become a person who depends on excuses. If you consistently hesitate, you slowly become someone who doubts every decision. But if you consistently act with discipline, you become someone who can be trusted to follow through. If you consistently choose growth, you become someone who rises regardless of the obstacles. Your identity, your future, your destiny are shaped not by what you say you want, but by what you consistently choose to do. In the quiet moments when nobody is watching, when nobody will know what choice you make, that is where the real battle is fought. You can either betray yourself by feeding the weak you, or you can honor yourself by empowering the strong you. Every time you choose discipline, you are not just building habits, you are sending yourself a message: I am strong enough to do what needs to be done. And every time you choose weakness, you are sending yourself a different message: I don't trust myself to keep my own promises. Those messages accumulate, and over time they shape how you see yourself. A person who constantly feeds weakness eventually believes they are weak. A person who constantly empowers strength eventually believes they are unstoppable. This is why choices matter far beyond the moment. They are not just about what you gain or lose right now. They are about which version of you is being fed and which version is being starved. The stronger self cannot survive if you do not make choices to feed it, and the weaker self cannot survive if you refuse to give it your energy. You are in control of which one grows, and you are in control of which one fades away. The power has always been in your hands, in your choices, in the decisions you make each day that either keep you trapped in the cycle of weakness or liberate you into the strength that builds your future. You cannot negotiate with your weaker self. You must kill it through consistent action. The weaker version of you is not reasonable. It does not respond to compromise, and it does not care about your dreams. It only knows how to pull you back into the comfort zone, into the habits that keep you small, into the excuses that destroy your progress. Many people try to bargain with this part of themselves, telling themselves they will work hard tomorrow if they can relax today, or that they will start after things calm down, or that just one more distraction won't matter. But every negotiation with weakness is a loss, because weakness does not understand balance. It only grows stronger every time you give it attention. The weaker self survives by convincing you that you can postpone growth, and every time you listen, it gains more power over your life. The only way to defeat this weaker self is through action, and not occasional action, but consistent action. Consistency is the weapon that destroys weakness, because weakness relies on gaps, on pauses, on breaks in your discipline. It waits for the moments when you are tired, when you are unmotivated, when you feel discouraged. In those moments, it whispers, "Take it easy, you've done enough, you can stop now." And if you listen, if you rest too long, if you let yourself slip once, the weaker you begins to rebuild its strength. But if you respond with action, if you keep moving forward, even when you don't feel like it, you are starving that weaker self. You are proving through your behavior that it has no power, no influence, no control over you. Killing the weaker self is not about sudden dramatic decisions. It is about the discipline of repetition. Showing up every day, pushing yourself even in small ways, refusing to let the weaker voice decide the outcome. When you act consistently, you build momentum, and momentum is the death of hesitation. The weaker self feeds on hesitation because it gives you time to doubt. But when you act quickly and repeatedly, you don't leave room for doubt to grow. You turn discipline into a habit, and over time, it becomes your natural response instead of your struggle. Action is also proof to yourself that you can be trusted. When you act consistently, you show yourself that your words mean something, that your promises matter, that you can rely on yourself to do what you said you would do. That self-trust is what makes the stronger you unshakable. Because once you trust yourself completely, the weaker self can no longer deceive you with lies. No excuse will convince you when you have evidence of your own discipline. No fear will paralyze you when you have proof of your own resilience. But if you keep negotiating, if you keep letting the weaker self win small battles, it will erode your confidence. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you weaken your own trust in yourself. You begin to believe your own excuses. You start to identify with the weaker self. And eventually you convince yourself that you are not capable of change. This is why negotiation is so dangerous. It feels harmless in the moment, but it rewires your identity to align with weakness instead of strength. The stronger version of you is built through consistency, through the daily decision to act, to show up, to do the hard things without waiting for the perfect moment. Consistent action is the executioner of the weaker self. Every disciplined choice is like a strike, every completed task is like a wound against it, and every time you rise when you could have stayed down, you kill another piece of it. Over time, the weaker self grows quieter, weaker, and less convincing until eventually it no longer has a voice in your decisions. And what remains is the stronger you, the version capable of building the life you want, because you refused to compromise and chose instead to act until weakness had no place left to live inside you. The life you want can only be built by the stronger version of you. Every dream you carry in your heart, every vision you have for your future, every goal that keeps you awake at night does not belong to the weaker self, because the weaker self is incapable of building it. The weaker you wants everything to be easy. It wants rewards without sacrifice, results without effort, and change without discomfort. But life does not work that way. Nothing meaningful is created through ease. The life you desire demands more than average effort, more than temporary motivation, more than half-hearted attempts. It demands discipline, sacrifice, resilience, and consistency, and these are the qualities of the stronger you. The weaker self is addicted to shortcuts. It looks for the fastest way, the most comfortable path, the option that requires the least amount of pain. But shortcuts always lead to disappointment because they cannot carry the weight of real transformation. You cannot shortcut discipline, you cannot shortcut growth, and you cannot shortcut mastery. The dreams you want to build require the longer path, the harder road, the one filled with resistance, because it is resistance that shapes you into the kind of person who can handle success when it arrives. The stronger you understands this truth, that version of you does not run from the difficulty of the path. It runs toward it, knowing that every step through struggle is a step closer to becoming the person capable of living the life you imagine. The stronger version of you is the one that is willing to fail, willing to fall, and willing to rise again. It knows that setbacks are not the end, but the training ground. It knows that the pain you feel along the journey is not punishment, but preparation. The weaker self avoids risk, avoids challenge, avoids the unknown because it fears what could go wrong. But the stronger self sees the same risk and embraces it, because it knows that without risk, there is no reward, and without challenge, there is no growth. The life you want cannot be built on avoidance. It can only be built on courage, on facing fear directly and acting anyway. The stronger you also has vision. It does not live only for the moment, it lives for the future. It sees the person you can become, and it is willing to pay the price today to unlock that future tomorrow. The weaker self has no vision. It lives only for immediate gratification. It chooses what feels good now, even if it destroys what you want most. That is why the weaker self cannot build your dreams. It will always trade the future for temporary pleasure. The stronger self, however, makes sacrifices in the present to create a foundation for the future. Every disciplined choice, every sacrifice, every act of consistency becomes a brick in the structure of the life you want. What makes the stronger you powerful is not perfection but persistence. It does not need to win every battle. It only needs to keep fighting, to keep showing up, to keep moving forward. The weaker self collapses at the first sign of difficulty, but the stronger self finds strength in the storm. It understands that the process is long, that transformation takes time, and that greatness is built in silence before it is revealed to the world. The stronger self carries patience, endurance, and the refusal to quit, and these are the qualities that create lasting change. Every time you choose the stronger self, you are aligning with the version of you that has the power to build, to create, to achieve. Every time you silence the weaker self, you are stepping closer to the reality you desire. The gap between the life you have and the life you want is not measured in luck, resources, or talent. It is measured in how often you let the stronger self lead. The more often you choose strength, the more real your dream becomes, until eventually it is no longer just a vision in your mind, but the life you are living. The battle has never been with the world, it has always been with yourself. Inside you, two versions are fighting for control, the one that clings to comfort, and the one that pushes for growth. Every excuse, every hesitation, every moment of fear strengthens the weaker self, while every act of discipline, every choice of courage, every step of resilience feeds the stronger self. Your life, your dreams, your destiny, they will never be built by weakness. They can only be created by the version of you that refuses excuses, that embraces struggle, that acts with consistency, and does not stop until the vision becomes real. The choice is always in your hands, and every day you decide which version of you will survive. It's you versus you, and only the strongest version deserves to live.